Well, hey everyone. I'm pretty disorganized tonight. Sorry, I was a bit late coming home and yeah. So I'm a bit late. Bit shocking, but that's how it is. Who's around? Gosh, there's a whole lot of you there. Craig, Tommy, Poppy, good to see ya. Wazza, can't make it. Sent me a message. We don't take attendance here, so it doesn't matter. Richard's here. Matty's here. G'day, Matt. Good video from Matt this week on his oil can build. Stephen Lang, g'day. Paul at Knackler's Workshop's here. Man Cave's here. John Creasy's is here. I'm a bit late, yep. Stuart Hingston's here. Etc, etc, etc. I'm a bit slack. Didn't get home till about 15 minutes ago, to be honest. And for a couple of reasons, I had a phone call about something that might be a future project, or it might not. And that took an hour and a half of my time. I really had forgotten that it was Wednesday night. So anyway, by the time I did some grocery shopping and got home, here I am. First day back at work, so it took me a while to debrief a bit after work too. So that's all good. What's happening? Had a weekend, had a week off. 10 days. Probably touched on that last week, but what I do, cast this, went up to the foundry and cast this, which is the base for, it's fully machined, or it's nearly fully machined. It's the base for the radiator for the Stuart 400, which will look something like that with a cone on top, I guess, maybe something like that, or it might not. Probably this tank in brass, or I would really like galvanized metal, but I'm not really good enough to solder that up and expect results that don't need to be painted, so it might just be brass. Thanks, Craig. So I put a hole through here and tap this for an elbow where the pump goes in. Whether I leave the elbow on the pump or whether I just put a pipe around here, I don't know. I think probably you get better flow if there's less bends in the pipe. So I think probably a straight connection here and a straight connection on the pump and a pipe around the outside, if there's room on the baseboard, might be a much better system than having a pipe across here with two elbows. I'm going to put a filter in here and probably bolt the tank down and the flange down like that on there and do something with the top. So that's what we got. It's done. Too late now. Yeah, she's a wizard. So that's done. So's Craig. You just don't realise that he went to Hogwarts. I've been messing with this. This upset expression on this face here is exactly how I feel about it. These valves don't seat. Don't know why. Can't understand why. I took Stephen Lang's advice and took 10 thou off here, which sounded like a really good idea. It gives us a much squarer valve seat, and I thought that might have fixed it. But when you put this valve, this head back on with the gasket, it's got to the point that I'm using slot head bolts as opposed to socket head now, because it's easier to take them off and put it back on, and it's been so many times. But when I bolt it back on, and you put your finger under on the manifold here, you can feel the pressure from the compression stroke. So obviously both these valves are leaking, and the reason this isn't going, I believe, is that you've got back pressure to the control valve on the gas and it's not sucking anything. And I think you would find the same with petrol, is that because there's no air, there's this intake valve and the exhaust valve aren't stopping as much air as they should, or they're probably not stopping very much air at all under pressure, that there's a positive pressure in the chamber here, and it's just not getting any fuel. So that's where I'm at. Well, I'm set 4 and 20 pies. I think probably National is the way to go if you're going to buy pies from Australia. Buy National. No bias there. But 4 and 20 are probably up there. They're comparative. So that's the issue with this at the moment, is that I can't get these valves to seal. I think I'm going to make new valves, to be honest. I'm wondering whether they're concentric. That's where I'm at. They feel like they're probably lapping in, but I don't want to lap them too far and wear the seats out again and have to recut them. So at this point, I'm probably going to make new valves for this, but it's doing my head in. I've had it apart about 10 times this week. Hey JB, I missed you before. And Dan, g'day. Will they hold a vacuum? I'm not sure about that. Honestly not. Never tried that. Hey Dennis, good to see you. I don't think it matters very much if we're going to make that comment here. I don't think it matters much who gets to be president. They're both going to be as bad as each other, and neither of them are going to accomplish anything. So there's not a lot of point. Maybe you need to sort of be single for a week, for 4 years and get your crap together. That's where I'm at with it. Vacuum test is probably a really good idea. Don't have one. And anyway, that's the state of play with the Stuart 400. That's what I've been up to anyway. So that's what we're at. What else did I do this week? William got just told off for discussing politics on the machining forum. Dan is probably the person who told you off. He's sort of had a sudden death sort of a week on that. He's posted a lot of... He's reported a lot of stuff, but I don't know if it's done anyone any good except Dan. I'm not even sure that's done him any good, but there you go. Take it or leave it, and I really don't... It's not a huge... It's not going to be a huge thing to me, whoever gets in. But for you guys, I'd like the best for you. That's where I'm at. Look at this, look at this, look at this, look at this. Talked about this last week. And where I was at was that these were all getting under these bars, and I did really want to silicone or no more gaps them in, because it's very hard to get them smooth in the corners, and some of these 8BA nuts will get stuck in the silicone, and I'm really not a big fan of that, and the swarf gets stuck in it and you can't just empty it out. You've got to pick it out. So didn't do that, but I did print all these, which are just pretty rough prints, to be honest. They're draft, which is about as fast as the printer will go, but they were quick and they were easy. I did them 4 at a time. So they've basically, they've got a little bit of a ledge here. This has got a curve in the bottom, so you don't need support on it for printing. And this is on a bit of an angle, so you can actually read it. And they've got a shelf in here, or a block in here. I did draw them up with like holes to let the swarf and the dust out in the bottom, like fine holes all through, like a strainer, I guess. But it was going to take another 4 hours to print them, so per batch, so I didn't bother. But that's what I got. Hey, Aaron. We're still getting to Aaron's tool and cutter grinder and why he painted it that colour, but there's obviously a reason for it, but we'll talk about that soon. Man Cave likes the colour. Actually, it looks pretty good. I'll give you that. It's just I'm not sure about bright green. Someone asked a question. Did you fill at the inside bottom corners? All I did was make the outside corners with the radius on them, right, like that, which is pretty rough because it's only on draft. And when I made the model, I made the outside corners. I made the outside box, and then I used the shell function with a 2mm wall just to take this side off. So that gives us 2mm all the way around, so it gives you a corresponding fillet on the inside as well. And then I drew a sketch in here and stretched it out, or sketched here and extruded that the same height. And I put a piece in here, a circle in here to get this out, and subtracted that from it. So that's how I made it. These have got a fillet down here, but it's not as much as this one's, only just to give them a bit of strength and to find that if this thing's not going around too many sharp corners, that print speed seems to pick up as well too on the Prusa. I don't know why, but if you don't use a sharp infill on your print, rather use one of Prusa's fancy infills with the rolling pattern, then things print much quicker. And I think the same applies for print design. So there we go. I did run out of filament that far from the top of the last 4, so these ones are actually in black, but it lets you know, and just swapped it over. So done these in, I think, midnight black or something it's called, which is a Prusa colour. Anyway, there we go. But yeah, the grinder needs a red guard and red hand wheels, I think, because any green machine with red hand wheels is something that you would absolutely buy at auction. Someone had a bit of a video on that. I think it might have been Keith Appleton did a video on buying eBay purchase steam engines, and he said anything with red flywheels and green body was usually covering something up, and it was not a good purchase. I'm not sure how much truth's in that. Anyway, I'll put that back out there. That was one of the projects this week, and that's done. So they lock in there nicely. There's not much movement or rocking around. If you turn it upside down, they will mix side to side because of this cut out here, and that was a stupid idea, really. There might have been a better idea there, I think. And even straight would have been good, But for my Mark 1, this isn't too bad. I'm going to do my metrics as well. So JB's got all the science there. JB's buying a boat because they bought another boat anchor, so we look out for a video about that, I guess, in the next little while. You've got to paint all the nuts and bolts red. That's what you've got to do if you really want someone to think they've got a bargain at a clearance sale one day. And as John Creasy says, you know, buying things like this, as the person who clears out your junk when you're gone is going to thank you for it. And that's kind of where we're at with this. Anyway, Presso had a video this week. I guess everyone, hands up who saw Presso's video. I hope everyone did. Good video, like always, from Presso. He was showing a new pair of oh, no spoilers anyway. Labels like mine, yeah, the label, forget the labels, Willem, it's just the way it is. Anyway, these come from here in Forbes. They were in Presso, had a I haven't even opened this yet. Had a discount code, which I think works anyway. I had the same discount code, but whether you've got that off the street, I don't know. I have bought stuff from them in the last 12 months, so when I logged in, I had the same discount code. But Heron Forbes had this. I've been looking for a while for a set of decent T-bar Allen keys that weren't ball end. I'll show you why in a minute. Anyway, this has got a pretty solid stand. Like this is pretty good actually. This is probably 1.8, 1.6, probably 1.8 steel. Right? It's got a sticker with the price on, with the sizes on them. I don't know if that's a benefit or a problem. It's got slot-heeled screws so that you can actually screw them to the wall, and I'm probably going to screw these over there on that next to the milling machine, I think. These are huge. Look at this. That one looks like it's probably 10mm, which is the biggest Allen key I actually own. I don't think I've got another 10mm. I might have another 10mm Allen key. Yeah, I do. Never used it. They've got a revolving colour on here, which is pretty nice. And this has got a ball detent, like a pretty decent ball detent in here. So you can move it from side to side, and they've got a ring to stop them coming out on the end. You see that? It clicks in there, or you can go to there. And it's nice action there. Pretty serious sort of Allen key. Try and zoom out, but I don't think that's winning. We're not winning with this, am I? Repco ones are way undersized. Sorry, JB. Probably machine tool envy there. And that one's 6. And there's an 8. And a 5. 2.5. 3. A 2. And a 4. So, pretty happy with those actually. Craig's actually put up a link there, which is awesome. And someone should employ Craig. He's pretty good at this stuff. Let's have a look. This is probably the one I'll use most of all. Let's measure it. We'll grab a micrometer, which is right here. There you go. That's about close enough for me. I don't think you would expect much better tolerance than that on an Allen key. That's not too shabby. So, there's the 2mm one. Can we see that? We might be able to focus that, or we might not. There we go. That's not far out. There we go. So hardness tester files next, apparently. There we go, Craig. Good idea. Let's find them. This place is all over the place after the weekend. As Mark says, flashes a rat with gold teeth. That's pretty much where we're at. That's scratching it, and that's 55 RC. So they're not particularly hard, but I reckon they're fairly tough. So I think they're probably all right. Now, the question's been asked, why don't you want to set a ball end T-handled Allen keys? How hard would the sockets want to be? Not particularly hard. They'd want to be tough. JB, while we're talking about that, a set of sockets, I'd be inclined to make them out of 4140 and leave them soft. Something like that would be ideal, I think. That's what I would do, maybe, but I don't know. Got this vise, and I've got a couple of these, right, of various sizes. This one could do with a clean because it just come off the milling machine. But the problem with these vices is that if you use an Allen key, you've got to have both hands, because if you loosen this off, right, and then move this along, to locate that, you've got to pull it down and do it up with your fingers and then push it in, which is a bit of a pain. if you've got one of these, right, you can pull it down and do it up one-handed like that. So that's why. So that's the main reason for buying these. They're not ball-ended, and for this particular vise, it's a much better thing than just an Allen key. So that's where I'm at with it. They will get a bit of other use in the shop, but mostly for my little grinding vise and my bigger one. That's why I bought them. So there we go. What other exciting things have happened? Steam engine progress. I don't know where I got to last week. Probably exactly the same spot I'm at the moment. Here. I don't think I've made any progress. I've got all these bolts in here. I've got a heap of video in the computer that I haven't actually edited. Got the gland on, and everything's ready nearly to go on the engine. So that's the progress on that. I've also cleaned the shaper off, and I've started on this, but we need to sharpen our tool. So next part of this is to trim that off and trim this one off in the shaper and make them match together, and we're away there. Yeah, Troy actually, JB, had a note that be careful because a 4mm one of these breaks, so it must be a voice of experience there, and we're not all got the same power to weight ratio that Troy has. So our fuse cutout system seems to be different sometimes. What else? Pictures from Craig today of some woodwork for the Stuart 400. So that's going to be here fairly soon, I would say. It won't be too far away. Heaps of thanks, Craig, for that. Really appreciate it. We'll have to work out what that's some compensation for that at some point, somehow. We will talk about this. And so woodwork for the base for the Stuart 400. I've got all the brass cut for the name badges, but I don't as yet. I haven't actually etched the switch plates and the name plates and things. So at some point I'm going to do that. Hi, John. Craig, we've got a parcel here to send you too, so I will get that sent away pretty quick too. I've got a parcel too to John Creasy. I actually did a casting for him on the weekend. I've got absolutely no idea where I put it. There we go. I found a box to send it to him. And I pulled it out. Hang on, I'll get it. That's the pattern, which I actually 3D printed. As much as I hate to say it, I 3D printed this pattern for this casting. The big problem is that it's only 15% infill, which makes this resonate a bit when you pound it. That's the problem with 3D printed patterns. Unless you print it solid, what you find is that when you're trying to get that tight in the sand, especially that way up, there's some resonance from the front to the back because it's hollow, or it's not got a lot of substance in the middle. And when you turn the whole thing over after ramming it, you find that this is loose, which isn't a huge big deal, but I don't think you can get sand perfectly tight in it and around it. And because of that, we got a little bit of fallout there, which isn't a huge deal. But if it had been a big deal, I would have done it again for about the third time. So that's the problem with 3D printed patterns, I think, is that you can't get them tight in the sand. But this one worked. It was a one-off. It was cheap, quick and easy, and I was running out of time. So there we go. Matey's got a good trick. Not sure what that is. Hey, Ian. Good to see ya. Old carbide burr. For cleaning that out, yeah, and cleaning the sand out, yeah, but it's going to be good enough. This is John Creasy's casting. Now, we ought to have a competition. I should give something away, but I'm not sure what. Can't really think of anything, to be honest. Anyway, what do you think this weighs in gunmetal? There you go. What do you think it weighs? It is about 75 by 50 millimeters. So about 2 inches, a fraction under 2 inches by 3 inches. And it's about 2¼ inches tall. What do you think it weighs? Hey, thanks. Thanks, Aaron. That's really nice. Craig's at 900 grams. Anyone else want to have a go before we weigh it? We'll find some scales. John says 1.5. William says 4.5. No, 4.5 what? Thanks. Craig thinks he's under. Don't think it's a base for a model Bridgeport, but it is gunmetal, so it's pretty solid. There's no shrinkage in it much, which I'm really impressed about. I was expecting, to be honest, I was expecting some shrinkage here, and there is a fraction here, but it's only, what, 35 thou, something like that. Not crazy amount. And a lot of it's probably that if you took this off, it would be a lot less if you took the burr off here. As far as shrinkage goes, there's not as much there. There's none there. We have got, if you have a close look, and John, when you get it, if you have a look, there is a crack through here. I don't think it's particularly deep, but this is a pattern making issue rather than a pouring issue. This radius here would have been better around here, or a little bit more. This is quite a bit bigger radius here. And I think next time we'd put a bit more in here if we're going to pour it again, and make that a bigger radius there, and then I think you might not get as much shrinkage. Probably another 1/8 of an inch on top here to give it a bit more metal in here. Might fix it too. I'm not sure. Anyone's got any thoughts about that? But it's not a bad crack, and I think if you cleaned it up with a file, you wouldn't even see it. Just when it was wet, I could see the crack across there. But I think it's only probably less than 1/8 of an inch deep. Right, 4.5 pounds. 9.55 from Stuart, 1.6 from Man Cave, 1.4 kilograms from Garden Route Machine Shop. Maddie's at 950 grams. Let's grab the scales if I can find them and they've got batteries in them. Oops. Sorry about the bump. Can we read this? Probably not. We'll have a closer look. Gosh, everyone's about 950, 900 grams. What do we got we can put on here? There we go. It's a bit of tin to tear. Something's not quite right here. Oh, we've got a broken lid. That's going to be a bit of a nuisance. I haven't used these for a while. Yeah, how do we tear these? I think that's grams. Well, that'd be about 10 grams, is it? 8 grams, 7 or 8 grams. There we go, that's grams. Zero grams. Now, what have we got? Get the kitchen scales. These will do. Now, who is the closest? What did Stuart say? 955. Maddie said 950. Craig said 900. You want to see the calibration certificate? Yeah. 980, 950, 955, 950. Okay, this weighs 944 grams, which is nearly a kilogram. It's a fairly chunky little casting. 944. So Maddie's about the closest. So go and check out Maddie's videos because he's awesome. As a prize for Maddie, everyone should go and subscribe to him if you're not already, because he makes good videos. But not far out. You've got more of an idea than I did. When I picked it up, I'm like, holy crap, that's heavy. If we're going to go there, this one here is about 330. This little cast iron casting is about 170, so it's tiny. So it's a pretty crappy set of scales, to be honest, but they go in the cupboard easily. and they time out and all that sort of stuff. So who's the Matty you speak of? Yeah, Matty's workshop. You've got to go and check him out. Yeah, Matty's the guy who wins things. He's lucky. So hang around with him. He's pretty lucky. He's got some good giveaways as well. Speaking of which, Craig's Workshop has a giveaway this week for a pretty awesome book. Don't think I own the book. I think I entered in the competition. I'm not sure if I did or not now. But you should go and check out Craig's Workshop. Commenters entry. I think I commented. I would have commented. If you don't comment, well, Matty will probably win it. So you need to go and enter. What else? Don't know if there's much else, to be honest. I don't know if there's very much else at all. I bought, if you're interested in fairground signwriting and funfair art, Joby Carter at Carter Steam Fair has a new book out, which I managed to get the copy of a pre-release copy of this week. So I was pretty happy about that. That'll be on its way from the UK, but Joby does good work and his books are always excellent. So it's good value for money, I think. We'll see when it gets here. The scale's about 450 grams out. Probably is. So what else today? I run out of filament. I'm going to need a roll of that at some point. But apart from that, I'm back at work today. There was a colossal amount of jobs backlog, and I've got through most of them, so it was obviously a quiet day. What else? Not a whole lot. There's not... Yeah, I'm not going to talk about that. I had a project that I might be going to embark on, which is not so much a workshop project, is something else, which may or may not never get finished. So I'm probably not going to say anything about it until it's out there, and then I can say I did this rather than say, yeah, I was going to do that and never got to it. I might as well have not said that. The other tragic thing that that happened this week. Hey, One Stop Fab Shop. Go and check out One Stop Fab Shop too. You should totally subscribe to him. Absolutely. I dropped the leg of the mill on this calculator, right? It was under the calculator leg, and the thing wasn't moving, and then all of a sudden it did move, and went bang, and this unfortunately was underneath. So we've got one we need a new battery in this. Two segments on this that are out. What did that say? It's not going to do it now. Don't know. So two segments are out, and it's not a big deal, but if you've got one of these, and I know some of you do, stinking cover on. It's there for a reason. That's where I'm at with it. It's not very happy about that because it's a fairly expensive bit of gear. But put the cover on it. It's there for a reason. If you've got a YouTube channel name that's actually a proper channel name with an actual picture, you're obviously thinking about making videos or making a comment. So we all should go and hang around over there in case it happens. That's where I'm at with that. But these guys that haven't got a profile picture on YouTube, you know that they're just here to be trolls. So guys like Mark Foster. Anyway, someone asked the question, is it running or not? And you've got to get here early to find that out. So next time. And John Creasy's just got that sort of picture. But he does it in a nice way. And trolling is fun. I will give you that. I try to bite my tongue a bit, especially this week. Seriously, you reap what you sow. There's nothing I can do except shake my head. Anyway, there we go. Anyway, that's what's going down. Tested the pump. I think I told you that. Pump works. We've got a nice piece of stainless steel plate to bolt all this down on. JB, I will be in touch about cutting that piece of acrylic out if you possibly can, and I'd really appreciate it. But I've just been snowed under. I haven't forgotten. You make an offer like that and I jump at it. Don't offer to do something for me if you don't really want to do it, because I probably will take you up on it. Oh, that's the Westmark Shaper. JB, I see. Yes, I saw pictures of it earlier. The Westmark. I got no idea. JB has a new Shaper. I didn't realise it was the same one. Because you can't have too many of them. Once you've got about 5 or 6 of them, then it just becomes a habit to get the next one. And, you know, they look so good lined up against the wall. But I know nothing about Westmark Shapers. Not convinced there's much else happening. I don't know if there's anything else to report, really. I've been doing a bit of painting. I've got a panel there ready to let out at some point. That's kind of cool. See what I said about people with no profile picture? Is the 400 going? Mark Foster. Is the 400 going? These bits here and this cylinder head are off the 400, and there are some issues with it. Just to go over that again, we've got valves that don't seat. That's where the problem is. I would love to see it going, but the valves don't seat. That's most of our issue at the moment. I don't know how to fix that, and probably I'm going to make new valves. Ah, yes, Dan. That's another project. Love to come down at some point when you recover from lockdown and it's not a crazy, scary place to visit south of the border. It's like the journey to Mount Doom, going across the border. You know, you've got to be really focused on the task ahead. Oh, Max has got a shaper. Excellent. No Rona there. Okay. At some point, I'm better to come and do it. Have you actually run that loco yet, said Fridge, since last time? Yeah, so have you had a look in the Macpherson's catalogue, JB? Do you have a Macpherson's catalogue, JB? No, the Victoria trip's not happening yet until you clean your act up down there. Really would like to, but yeah. Who's seen a Macpherson's catalogue? I'll go and get one. We'll have a look. This is the book. Macpherson's were forced to be reckoned with here. Basically, they were, I guess, machinery dealers, first and foremost, and hardware merchants. Ah, excellent, Dan. We could do them at the track. That might be fun. I'd be up for that. Now, your personal use. We suggest that the name, department, and telephone extension number of the departmental managers or salesman most often contacted be written in for your. So JP Stuart was the man. He's a representative. No idea where. Macpherson's Limited. Now, these guys sold some really good stuff. This is 1955, which is probably a bit later than JB Shaper. If we have a look in the index, under S for Shaper, SH, scales, shears, shovels, Shaper hand, shaping machines, 46. See, it's easy to get sidetracked here, but 46 is what we're looking at. This doesn't have a name on it. It might have, but I think it's probably a Macpherson. No, it doesn't say. This was Macpherson's Macpherson's main product line was Macpherson, which was their industrial machines. I'm not sure about the other one, but there is a little shaper here, but I don't think it's the same. Anyway, there we go. Has it got a Cincinnati 2L? It's a bit late for that. Mills, what do we got? We've got a Denby horizontal, which there's thousands of these in Australia, English mill. Probably not a bad mill when they were new. Most of the ones I've ever seen or used were completely worn out. The other end of the scale, there's a Chauvelin SV13, which is, I believe, is that the one this old Tony's got? Anyway, that's not a bad looking machine. There's a tool and punch miller from Thal, which is pretty specky. There's a Victoria 30-inch milling machine. And then we go to slotters and shapers. Automatic laser milling machines. There's a Parkson, which I'm not sure per Parkson were probably made, but anyway, we've got a couple of Parksons, which are pretty heavy. A 3N and a 2N, and it might be a copy of a Cincinnati even. So there we go. I believe that William Adams were probably Cincinnati agents. I do have a William Adams book, but we'll get that out some other time. There's Chauvelin 65, SV 65, the one SV 102, and what looks like a bit bigger one anyway. BSA automatic lathes. These were starting to, the old turret lathe was starting to be a bit obsolete. Ward. The capstan lathe. And there's the big Macpherson, which was probably a pretty good machine for a tool room lathe. Fairly expensive when it was new. The Hercus from Australia, which is basically a copy of the Model A and the Model C, is basically a copy of a South Bend. 12-inch by 40 Hercus. I've seen a picture of one of them, but that's about it in real life. And then you come to the Ward capstan. When you look at, by then, Herbert had the fast cap and some of those really nice automatic lathes. Ward was starting to get a bit old-fashioned. And you've got 4 and 6 spindle and automatics, so tape automatics by 1955. And there's a Drummond. Anyway, I don't know who's interested in old books like this, but I kind of am. Then we go through to broaching machines, hacksaw machines. I'm sure there's thousands of these tucked away in sheds. Tool and cutter grinder. Macpherson tool and cutter grinders. Bench pattern surface grinding machine. If anyone knows where there's one of these in a shed, right, let me know. 6.5-inch travel, or 10-inch travel, 7-inch cross feed, table mount. Nice little machine. And there's a utility grinder too, about the same size. So, tool post grinders, electric bench drills, drilling machines, multiple head drilling machines for production work. Tapping machines. There's my my tapping machine there. 3-speed or semi-automatic tapping machine. And then you go through to accessories, which are like, seriously, there's a lot of stuff in this book. Black & Decker drills, woodworking machines. Now, speaking about woodworking machines, I've got one in bits here, and I thought, well, I'll have a bit of a look at that. We might have a look at that if you've got time. I know it's getting late in most parts of the world. Ajax pumps, packing, plumbing, pipe fittings, valves, gauges, steam engine packing, V-belting, keys and pins, taps and dies, wire gauges, micrometers, benches, bench gauges, dial gauges, lathe chucks. There's the Taylor self-centering chuck there. Pliers, nippers, spanners, winches, forges, acetylene generators, planes, casters, kill rust metal paint, spray painting gear, portable paint. There's not very much stuff that Macpherson's never had. I'll give them that. Can't see the Mars in there. Sorry. What size is the bottom left one? I'll send you a picture, JB. Yeah, way better book than the Hare and Forbes book, for sure. Macpherson's book was fantastic, and there should be, I think there's like technical charts and things in here as well. I think it's in the back or somewhere. No, we've got fractions, decimal equivalents, and millimeters. I think that's the only one. Maybe there's some pages missing. But 600-page book on just about everything. Dry steel, iron and steel, aluminium mouldings, sections for bus bodies, etc. Case hardening and alloy tool steels, aluminium, stainless, all there. Everything's in the Macpherson's book. If you see them around or come up for auction or in secondhand bookshops, grab it, because it's a pretty awesome reference to have if you're buying old crap, which most of you people are. I'm not that person, but I know everyone else buys old crap. Now, speaking of old crap, Fridge likes old crap. Anyway, this is a bandsaw guard, right, off a Heiko ball bearing bandsaw. This is probably a Sydney-made Heiko products, Sydney, New South Wales. This is probably in the Macpherson's book. But it's pretty crap, and it's all corroded, and it's rotten. It's aluminium. What's the best way forward with this, right? See this? This should have a bolt hole in it, but it's too rotten really to do much with, and it's just busted off. What would you do about that? Because I wouldn't like my chances of welding it or tigging it. It probably can be TIG welded, but I don't know what sort of condition this aluminium is, or what it actually is, or how much crap's in it, really. It feels a bit rotten. The bits were there. I mean, I got the 3 bits there because they were under the bolt. It's not like it's been dropped or broken, it's just that it's fallen apart. Maybe it can be TIG welded. They're both the same. I've got a complete saw, and they're about the worst parts of it. Now the saw, the main body of the saw is at the back door, has been for 3 years, and I would like to set it up with a gearbox for metal cutting. It's got a decent cast iron table. It's probably not a bad saw. It's a well made thing, except these covers are ugly and there's a lot of money to be sunk into it. I don't think it's die cast fridge. Mark says he's good for something. That's awesome. Thank you. Fixed yours a couple of times, so TIG weld's alright. So I need to get someone to TIG it. I have to find someone who can actually, who's got a TIG who can actually use it. So this one needs building up and re-drilling, and these could do with a sandblast and paint, each prime and a coat of paint. But most of this is, well, it's untidy, but it would clean up. Could get it powder coated. The trouble is with powder coating the main base is that it weighs it like a crap load, to be honest. So these have been under the cupboard for a while. As you can see, they got a bit dusty. But there's the wheels are like that. They need new tyres on them. I've got all the bits. Everything could go back together fairly nice if I pulled it apart and painted it. And I don't think it's particularly worn. But Tommy's not the man. It will be cheaper just to paint it myself, and I have no problems at all cleaning up and painting it. That's not a big deal. But I'm wondering about DevCon or JB Weld for this, but I don't think it's going to be solid enough. I really think it's a high load thing. It needs to be welded or repaired somehow. The other option is to patch it up and to recast them, and that's probably not a crazy difficult thing to do either, to use these as a pattern and recast them. So don't expect to see anything of this project in the next 3 years, because you haven't seen anything in the last 3 years, and it's been here 5 years. So unlikely to ever go, but I might actually paint it green if I ever did it, or I might not. Could bolt on a small L piece. That's probably not a bad idea either. Go Create is to cut this off and to rivet a nice little piece on here that looks part of it and fiddle around it and have a nice job. Anyway, thanks Aaron for everything. Take care. Go and check out Design Creative and Technology, Aaron's, whichever one it's on. Go and check out Aaron's channel and have a look at his tool and cutter grinder. Awesome job. It's not such a bad colour. So that's something that's been sitting here for a while, mostly because of this, and I don't know what to do about it. So if anyone knows anyone locally who's a pretty good TIG welder at the right price, I'd get them fixed. I'd probably restore this, because it's not a huge machine. It's got a fairly small footprint, and it's good and solid. And if I made a metal base for it, put a gearbox in it, it'd probably be a pretty good metal cutting bandsaw, I reckon. I don't know, a 2-speed box in it, and it's fairly nice looking thing when it's all together. Anyway, got carried away with that, and sorry about that. Anyway, talking about old junk, the bandsaw is probably in this book. 112 and 117. There it is. Hyco 12-inch wood cutting bandsaw. With a 1/2 horsepower motor at 1425 revs. Pulley sizes. Cuts up to 5.5, 3/4 inch, 83.5 inch blade. Can be supplied with a gearbox as a wooden metal cutting machine, which would be very, very nice. But not a lot of information about that. If anyone else knows, obviously someone does. Mark Foster, I will be in touch about this. But yeah, Maddie, you for a guy who has to move the air compressor every time he walks from one end of the shop to the other now, I'm a little bit suspicious that you're going to get that shop filled up pretty quick. So anyway, that's the Hyco saw. It's got a good cast iron table and it's got a big cast iron base. It's got some decent adjustments on it. It's probably not a bad little saw, I think. I'm suspicious that the Macpherson one's exactly the same saw as the Hyco. It has got actually, looking at the other side, it probably is exactly the same. So I'd have to make a base for it and put a gearbox in it. There's a bit of work in it, so don't expect anything from that anytime soon. Right on, Matty. Anyway, that's about all I've got. Actually, I had more than I sort of thought I did at the moment for that one, because I was thinking that I never had very much at all. But thanks for sticking around, guys. Very unorganized tonight, and really, really appreciate your patience with that. What else? What else? New video about this little engine coming out pretty soon. I've got it sort of... it's all on the computer. I've just got to straighten it out and delete about 4 hours of footage, basically. Should be a video about the 400 very soon as well. Patreon are up to part 30, 34 or something. There's way too many, but thanks for your patience with that if you're on Patreon. And go and hit up the guys on the Discord channel too. It's pretty cool. Lots of chatters and lots of lurkers. You find someone you've got something in common with, or someone that you can abuse, and that's all it's all about. Someone to talk to. Anyway, Tommy's off to bed. Good to see you. Thanks for calling in. Everyone else is... Craig's probably off too. Everyone else as well. I'm off. Take care. Be kind to each other. Whatever the outcome of the election is, you've got to live with your next door neighbour. So don't make too many enemies about it. And more soon, guys and girls. Be kind to each other.